All right, man, peace. You know, brothers, you ever come across somebody in your life who was extremely talented but just couldn't get out of their own damn way? Might have been a great artist, great basketball player, great football player, great writer, whatever it was. They just couldn't get out of their own way. They make movies about it, like writers who were addicted to heroin or something like that, or an athlete who just can't get past the injury bug. When I watch Joel Embiid, he reminds me of one of these unbelievable players, superlative performers who just can't get out of his own way. I was watching him the other night and I said to myself, someone needs to make him hire one of these Olympic coaches who can teach him how to run and jump and land properly, because he does not know how to do any of those things. He's a phenomenal basketball player. Skill set wise, he pretty much can do everything out there on the basketball floor, from post up to face up, handle the basketball, penetrate, so on and so forth. But I noticed that most of his injuries occur because he seems to be overly concerned with having a highlight slam dunk over someone whenever he penetrates to the basket. Both of the times that I saw him hurt his knee, it was because he was trying to overly exert himself when slamming the ball, as opposed to just doing a little two-hand dunk or laying the ball up and in. Of course, it's great to be on the highlight reels on SportsCenter, etc. But you have to make sure that you're in control of your body. You have to coordinate yourself properly so that you land appropriately. And that's one of the things, and I mentioned this in another video, that stood out about Michael Jordan, his unbelievable balance. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because, without a doubt in my mind, that's what cost Joel Embiid this year's NBA Most Valuable Player award. Nikola Jokic did end up winning it, and he deserved it, because he was available for his team for all 72 games, and he had an unbelievable season offensively. Joel Embiid was a better all-around player on both sides of the floor, but he was unable to stay healthy. The actual MVP in my view was Stephen Wardell Curry, who had the greatest impact of any player this season, beyond a shadow of a doubt. But due to consistency and overall excellent play, Nikola Jokic deserved the award. But was Joel Embiid robbed? And if so, who robbed him? The NBA or his damn self? They're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
Nikola Jokic was named MVP yesterday, getting 91 of the 100 first-place votes to win in a landslide. Nikola Jokic became the first center since Shaq to win the award and is up.
Let me say this also. There's been this growing sentiment for Chris Paul. Chris Paul had a great impact on the Phoenix Suns, but they were a team who were growing anyway. When it comes to Chris Paul as a player, I have a very difficult time respecting him, especially with what he tried to do in the first round of the playoffs with the Lakers. I have no doubt in my mind that he was trying to throw that series for LeBron James. I'll probably be covering that in another video. Of course, everything that I'm saying is just my view of it, just my opinion, and it is alleged. But I have a difficult time taking Chris Paul seriously as an MVP candidate, and I'm sorry, he's just not a sympathetic figure to me. The NBA, especially since Phoenix was able to sweep the Denver Nuggets, is trying to craft this heartwarming narrative around Chris Paul. I'm just not buying it. And I respect the asshole quality of high-level performers, but he's a little bit too caustic for my taste.
41st overall in 2014 to ever get the honor. Joel Embiid finished second in overall voting and admitted last night that the loss was, quote, disappointing, but he went on to say that he's got bigger team priorities, adding, if and when I'm holding that Larry O'Brien trophy, anything else won't matter. Shannon.
Beautiful athlete. He just has terrible coordination. Once again, he or his team, not just the Philadelphia 76ers, but his personal team, they have to advise him that he should speak to one of these Olympic track coaches who can teach him how to run properly, how to jump properly, and how to land properly. Because they just can't have it where he's missing 25, 30 games a year and he's hobbled in the playoffs because he does not know how to execute certain ballistic movements on the basketball floor. It's costing them realistic opportunities to win a championship. This year in 2021, with a hobbled Nets team, there's no LeBron in the Western Conference for the referees to give all the calls to in the finals. The Philadelphia 76ers have as great a chance of winning the NBA championship as any other team, and what might cost them is the fact that their best player does not seem to have the overall coordination and the sense of responsibility to make sure that he executes movements both on the ground and in the air that will make sure that he preserves himself for his team.
Either have Embiid or Jokic.
Okay, well, Jen, ask me a different way.
What?
Yoke.
Who would you rather have?
Yoke.
Oh.
I keep telling you, and I told you it wasn't going to be close. I kept telling you, I said, Skip, it's not going to be as close a vote as you think.
Close.
Oh, yeah, Joel Embiid.
Yeah, I'll say this. Most of the mainstream media, the actual literary media, not the TV media, they have a far firmer grasp of who's who and who's doing what than these idiots on television. Like, the LeBron James fanboys, they were setting themselves up for major disappointment. Even had LeBron James not gotten hurt, he would not have been this year's MVP. Had everyone stayed healthy, I'm not even quite sure if LeBron would have finished top 5. You would have had Embiid, you would have had Jokic, you would have had James Harden, you would have had Stephen Curry. All those guys would have finished ahead of LeBron. And Shannon and Nick Wright would have been on television talking about how LeBron got robbed again. But for the most part, the vast majority of the winners of the MVP awards are based in a sense of reality and what actually occurred over the course of the NBA season. So kudos to them.
That Yoke was going to play all 72.
Yes, remember I told you that was.
Yeah, you said that.
Yeah.
Joel Embiid has missed 295 games since he's been drafted. That's 3.5 years of games he's missed.
That's someone who's either not training or not training properly. Once again, he needs to speak to the correct person to assist him. Maybe a Tim Grover, who knows?
Skip, Nikola Jokic. I love Joel Embiid. I know he's going to give me 28 and 12.
Joel reminds me of a combination of Patrick Ewing and Akeem Olajuwon. That's how he plays and that's how he moves. Anyone who grew up in the 90s knows that, especially in the mid to late 90s, Patrick Ewing, he basically became the whipping boy for the Knicks fans and the media because he liked to take long-range jump shots. If Patrick played today, he'd be the perfect center because he loves to take, or he used to love to take 20, 25-foot jump shots.
But he's only going to give it to me 60 times a year. Well, he played 82 games. Yoke's going to give me 27, 10, and 8. And he's going to play 72 to 80 times a year.
Yep.
So which one do you think I should take, Skip?
Jokic, pound for pound, inch for inch, might be the greatest offensive center to ever play. He's right there with Olajuwon and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in regards to skills, offensively.
He can do everything Joel Embiid can do except defend. He can score at the level. He can
Except defend. Let's just sweep that under the carpet.
Well, hell, obviously defense.
Except defend.
Obviously, defense is not that important because if it was, the Clippers would do a better job than defending, right?
This isn't.
Every time Shannon starts to lose a debate, he tries to sidetrack to a topic that has nothing to do with what they're talking about.
Let's get my
It's
bad.
about Embiid versus the guy who doesn't defend.
So you're gonna throw him away? He's an elite level passer. We haven't seen a big guy pass the ball like this maybe since Arvydas Sabonis in his early years. The only other big man that I can remember passing the ball like this, Bill Walton could pass the ball like this before.
Vlade Divac was a great passer.
Yep.
Wilt, later in his career, turned into a passer when scoring was no longer important to him because he had Jerry West and Elgin Baylor. And I think he averaged like 8.5 assists a game. But Nikola Jokic on a nightly basis, and when his second best player goes down, and when Will Barton goes down, and he keeps them right where they are. As a matter of fact, they take off. It was a no-brainer for me, Skip. Look, can't take away anything from Joel Embiid, but I'm not going to give up a guy that's 27, 10, and 8 that's going to play damn near all the games for a guy that's going to give me 28, 12, and he's going to miss anywhere between 20 and 27 games a season. That's not happening. So give me Yoke.
Give me Joel Embiid any day, any night, any year, any month.
Yeah, both fully healthy, I would take Embiid. Jokic has the advantage because he understands his body better. He gets body shamed a lot. Men get body shamed and don't say shit about it. He gets body shamed a lot. But whatever he's doing works for him. He's probably one of those Europeans who trains along the lines of how a Dirk Nowitzki used to train. Very unconventionally, but whatever he's doing is working because he's always healthy. Whatever Joel Embiid is doing is not working because he just can't stay healthy. Maybe it's something structural with how his legs are built. He seems to be a bit knock-kneed. But one thing we know, Jokic is going to play the vast majority of the season, at least thus far. But if both fully healthy, I'm taking Embiid.
You only get him 60 times a year, though.
Hey, just hang in and hang on. He's going to get through these playoffs. He's got a slight little tear in his knee. He's going to get through. And if he does the way I think he will, he's going to take this team a long way. I believe it will go farther than Yoke will be able to take his team. It comes down to they're evenly matched on offense. I give you Yoke can pass it. He's extraordinary.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure we've ever seen a big guy who could pass it with the sort of the
he runs
touch
out
and feel. He can see it and feel it.
Once again, Jokic might be the best all-around offensive center that I've ever seen with the things that he can do. Hakeem Olajuwon could not run the offense as the point center like Jokic can do it. For those of you who never saw Larry Bird play, if Larry Bird was playing today, he'd be Jokic, just a little bit better. But that's how Larry Bird played back in the 80s, like how Jokic plays now.
Yeah. But in this case...
Except Bird was a little bit better as a shooter and as a passer. I mean, discernibly better as a shooter and a little bit better as a passer than Jokic. But that's about it. They pretty much play the same.
Side of the equation called defense, and this guy, Joel Embiid, he's a monster on both sides. Offense and especially on defense, because just look at defensive win shares. Joel ranked 30th in the league, which I think he should be higher, but Yoke is 68th. Then look at...
Well, Skip, it's really not about think. They pretty much tabulate the numbers, and that's what they get.
Joel blocked 69 in only 51 games to Yoke 48 in 72 games.
Right.
It's like a huge gap. If you just do it per game, Joel blocks 1.4 blocks a game. That's to Yoke, who's only 0.7. So it's like twice as much.
Right.
If you do the math across the board.
I'll say this right now. I bet that the Philadelphia 76ers wish that they pulled the trigger on that Ben Simmons for James Harden trade, because had they pulled the trigger on that trade, they'd probably be the favorite to win the championship this year.
More blocks. Yoke is not a shot blocker.
No,
he's not a rim protector.
No.
And then we get to, let's do the free throw line. Joel just marches to the free. He is a parade to the free throw line on a nightly basis. Nobody in basketball shot more free throws this year than Joel Embiid, and he did it in only 51 games.
Right.
So it's just extraordinary. He shot 548 in 51 games to only 394 in 72 for Yoke. So there's no physicality. He's not going to protect the rim. He's not going to impose his will on you. He's going to beat you with finesse.
Did you see what he did against Portland?
Mm-hmm.
You saw that, right? You saw the years your Clippers last year?
Mm-hmm.
You saw that, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I did. It's not going to. I hope they get a rematch.
Well, Skip calls it finesse. I call it skill. I don't look at Jokic and see a player who's soft. There's nuance to his game. You can call it finesse, but I think that sometimes, at least in the context that Skip is using that word, he's trying to imply that Jokic is soft. Jokic is not soft at all.
Oh,
Y'all not advancing that far. So get that part out your head.
well, you're about to.
But Skip,
I'm going to be swimming in dew before this is over.
you look at
Skip needs to start making Shannon Sharp pay him what he's owed in Mountain Dew at the end of every year. Because this Mountain Dew tab has been going back to 2016. If you want the viewers to take this shit seriously, all you got bet and do, there needs to be a reckoning at the end of every year where the loser has to pay. I think that there's a bit of, we don't want Shannon to have to look like he has to pay Mountain Dew every year, because we want the viewers to believe that both participants in these debates actually know what they're talking about. And if Shannon always owes Skip 50 cases of Dew at the end of every year, it's going to make him look incompetent as a sports analyst.
Yoke is 8.3 assists. That's 7th in the league. Joel Embiid 2.8. That's 125. He shoots.
Look, people have to stop just trying to compare raw stats. They have different attributes, therefore they have different roles on their team. If Jokic played with a Ben Simmons, he would not be averaging 8.3 assists per game. The reason why it's conducive to how they play offense for Jokic to average so many assists is because Jamal Murray is kind of a combo guard.
Free throw percentage is equal.
Mm-hmm.
3
Except
points.
he just gets there so much more.
But you know what, Skip? But it projects out, because all the games that you missed that would have been free throws for you, we good, we straight.
True.
Joel was first in free throw attempts. Yoke was 21st.
That's okay.
It's just over time. It's monster versus not monster.
You're monster.
Like if I'm having to play against Joel the next day, I'm losing sleep. Yoke, I'm not losing sleep.
But guess what, Skip? If I play.
Here's the thing with Jokic, though. I don't believe that we've seen the best of him. I just think that he's on the upward incline. I think that he's going to reach his peak probably in 2 years, assuming that he can stay healthy. Embiid, I think that we've seen the best of him. I hope that I'm wrong, but I'm not quite sure if he's ever going to be able to pay issuance to the health problems that he has.
Joel Embiid on Wednesday. I'm clapping my hand on Thursday because I'm not going to see him. And you're going to see Yo every night. Every night. He's going to give you 27 and 10 and 8. That's what he's going to do for you. Now, Joel Embiid, I might miss a week. Stomach might be, tum hurt.
Hey, yo, Shannon can't get over Joel Embiid having stomach issues in the 2019 playoffs.
State.
But every night before you play Joel, you're going to have bad dreams.
Yeah. What you think you have a Yo? Because he's going to do the up and under.
Sleep like a baby.
Yeah, he's going to hit the 1 foot, the one left foot, the right foot, the 3, the up and under.
Scares me.
Yeah. Make it look bad. Make it look
What's your
foolish.
eye test tell you? You know what it tells you.
Yep.
Skip can talk all the shit he wants. Jokic was scaring him in that bubble tournament when he was roasting them damn Clippers because he was killing the Clippers.
MVP, which I told you, Skip, at some point in time.
It was easy to tell me he got hurt. It was easy. If he had not gotten hurt, he would have won it. He would have won it going away.
Skip, I got to do averages. I got to do the law of averages. What does the law of averages tell you about Joel Embiid? If you miss 3.5 years.
Look at Skip. Skip want to laugh.
In 8 years, what does that tell you? What's the likelihood of you going to play 82 games? What's the likelihood you're going to play?
When Skip start banging them papers, he's about out of ammo.
75 games. What's the likelihood you're going to play 60 games?
For however many he plays, I'll take Joel.
No.
Maybe a bit motivated by this second place.
So if I'm a great worker and I'm only coming to work, what? 85% of the time, the boss say, Shannon, you're a hell of a worker.
There's only one worker like Joel.
When your health
only
is
one.
involved.
Yeah, I will say this: you make exceptions for exceptional people. So, to the metaphor that Shannon Sharp is trying to use, or the example that he's trying to use, if you're that great a worker and you're making it there 85% of the time, the boss is not going to fire you. He's going to call you into the office and ask you if there's a way that he can help you get to work. Because if you're that necessary, they're not going to let you go. With Joel Embiid, as long as he's putting up 28 and 13 and shooting 85% from the free throw line and playing top-notch defense, there's no danger of Joel Embiid getting moved. Right now, he probably has the highest trade value on the market of any player in the NBA not named Stephen Curry or someone along those lines, Stephen Curry or KD or Kawhi. He's on that next level. He's definitely a bubble superstar.
In basketball, Joel.
I like that he's motivated by it, guys. We're moving on.
But anyway, that's basically it on that, brothers. Do I think that Joel Embiid was robbed? Yes, I do. But I think that the perpetrator is the person that he sees in the mirror every day. So if he ever wants to be the player that he claims he wants to be and start winning regular season MVPs and championships, he is going to have to start to take his biomechanics, his conditioning, and things of that sort far more seriously. And start investing some of the millions that he's getting from Under Armour and from the NBA in the same way that LeBron James is investing it. Not necessarily in PEDs, but in a top-notch trainer. So peace.